Hello, hello, happy Mops Day. I wish I were with you all right now, but it is kind of nice being at home wearing my slippers because I wouldn't be wearing them there. So before I start, I just want to share two little nuggets with you that have been keeping me going during this hard time. And one of them is, for children, love is spelled Time. Have you ever heard that little saying? I love that. For children, love is spelled Time. Time. That is how our kids know that we love them, is by the quality time that we spend with them. And this is such a unique opportunity that we have during this quarantine, is that we have so much time with our kids to love them, to play with them, to read with them, to teach them, to cook with them, to work with them, to teach them how to work. And so use this time with joy with our children. The second little nugget that's been helping me through this is by Harold B. Lee. He said, the most important the Lord's work that you will ever do will be the work you do within the walls of your own home. And that's where we are now. We're in the walls of our own home all day, every day during this COVID-19 quarantine. And if you ever feel like you're sad that you're not out serving or out participating with your friends and family and in the community the way that you used to and that you would like, know that you are in the best place right now, in your home, with these wonderful children that God sent you. So those are just two little nuggets that have been helping me. Okay, so I'm going to talk today about family culture, family identity, and of course, the power of our family stories. So I want to start with a story that has really brought me a lot of strength during these different and challenging times. Things are a little hard for our family right now. Our bakery was doing so well just a few months ago. We were setting records and so excited to pay off our loan much sooner than we had expected. We were planning a trip. My husband hates travel, but he'd agreed to, of course, a family history trip. And things were just so great. But then this hit and restaurants aren't doing as well. And so therefore we're hit also. And, you know, things have changed and there's lots more stress and worry and unknowns than before. And whenever I try and seek for comfort in the news, really anything online, social media, these things, that does not help. That just weighs me down even more. And so I find myself reading about my ancestors, in addition to reading the scriptures, but reading about my ancestors to bring me comfort and perspective and strength. And one in particular that's really helped me are my grandparents, Myril and Loa. Here they are. In 1930, there they are, covered in leis. In 1930, they moved to Honolulu and had an incredible life. They were there for 11 years when they decided, we want to stay here forever. We love the beaches. We love the picnics. My grandfather was a pianist for dances back before recorded music. They were both teachers and were very involved with a growing church there. They had 2 children. They said, this is paradise, let's stay forever. November of 1941, they finished building their forever home, their dream home right there, just a few miles from Pearl Harbor in Honolulu. And there they are with their 2 little children. And 1 month later, just 1 month after they moved into their new home, there was the attack on Pearl Harbor and their world turned upside down. And they no longer had the freedom that they had before, just like we're feeling like we are restricted. They had blackouts every night. They weren't allowed to leave their houses. And in fact, they had to stay in one room if they even wanted the lights on, and they had to have blackout curtains on their lights. They had extreme rationing. I mean, food was hard to come by in Hawaii as it was because things were so far away to get foods there. But then now that they were worried of a future attack and they were under such extreme conditions after the attack on Pearl Harbor, it was really hard to get food and gas and other necessary supplies. There were air raid drills all the time. They had to build a bomb shelter in their neighborhood. This is a great picture of my grandparents and my father with their gas masks on next to a bomb shelter. So if we feel inconvenienced by masks, at least it's just a little mask. All the children had to carry huge gas masks around with them and identification cards, and life was really hard for them. This perfect life that they had and that they were seeing before them was completely changed, and it was out of their control. About 18 months later, they managed to get secret passage on a ship to evacuate out of Hawaii and join their family in America and restart a life there. And so as things have been hard for us, I find so much strength in Myral and Loa. I see that they went through something even harder and they turned out just fine, and they made the most of their situation. And so I invite you to think of to remember stories that you've heard, or find out more stories of your ancestors who have had difficult times and who have overcome them. This is a little drawing that I drew that helps me understand why seeing the lives of these ancestors helps us get so much perspective. So here, this is us. It's backwards here. This is us, and we're born, and life is good. Life has become good, right? And then we have this big trial. And we think we don't know what the outcome is going to be. What is going to happen with our life? And when we see our ancestors, we see that they were born and they were okay. And then they had a trial. And it was hard. Down, up, down, down. But in the end, they were okay. They made the most of it. And if they weren't okay, maybe they set things up the best they could for their children, and their children were okay. And if they weren't okay, maybe their children's children were okay. But eventually, things work out when we stick with it. And when we see that truth in our ancestors, then we can get so much perspective. So now I want to move on more to family culture. So do you remember in your chemistry classes, your biology classes, do you ever study those little Petri dishes? Little red chemicals at the bottom, and you'd put different bacteria or something in them and you'd watch it grow. Sometimes you put moldy bread in it or something and watch it grow. So that's where the word culture comes, right? That's a culture, right? And so our family, our home is like a little Petri dish. What do we want our family to grow into? What little chemicals, what things, influences will we put in our little Petri dish, our little culture of our family and our home, that will make the family into what we want? So strong families are intentional. They don't just happen. They don't happen accidentally. And if we just let our families happen, then we probably won't get the desired outcome that we want. We must be intentional. We are the thermostats. We're not just the thermometers that take the temperature. We're the thermostats. We set the temperature. We set the tone for our families, especially as the mother who is with our children the most and who's in our home the most. We must plan and create our family culture, or else the world will. Other influences will, through TV, through magazines, through friends, through social media, through pop culture. And through the adversary, right? These are influences that we don't want creating the main culture in our family. So our family culture is the values, the priorities, the habits, the experiences that we choose for our family. So as we try and plan and create our family culture, so you can begin right now. What is my family culture? What is it like in my house? What kind of a culture do I have? What would my children say about my family? What kind of a family we are? What do I tell people about my family? Think about the culture that you already have and think, well, what do I like about it? What do we want to keep? And what do we want to change? And what do we want to add? And there are two helpful questions as you seek to create your culture now and in the future. And those are, one, what do we want for our children in the long term? Because remember, we're raising adults, right? We have to begin with the end in mind. What do we want for them in the long term? And how can we increase the odds of that happening now? So if we want our children to get out of the house when they're 18, which is something my husband and I talk about all the time, and we tell our children all the time, you are gone when you are 18, or when you graduate. We need to teach them how to do laundry. We need to teach them how to take care of finances. We need to teach them how to work. We need to, we begin now with the things in place to get that desired result. So those are the two questions you can ask as you are trying to determine your culture. And these will determine how you deal with extracurricular activities, how you deal with church attendance, how you deal with family reunions, how you deal with how much your family, those who work in your house work, how much time your friends spend with friends, how much time you spend on TV. When you kind of decide the culture that you want, it affects all the other decisions you make day to day and big decisions you make also. So what are some specific things we can do to enrich our family culture and strengthen our family culture? And one of them is to make a family motto or a family mission statement. Do you know that businesses, Google, Apple, Salesforce, other businesses, small ones included, spend lots of money creating intentionally a culture for their employees? Salesforce, which is a big company out where I'm from in San Francisco, their corporate culture is, they call it their family. It's a camping, great outdoors, being happy together in the outdoors kind of culture. Their posters are all national park themed. When they have corporate get-togethers, they play their ukulele, and they have t-shirts with camping themes on them. This was very intentional. They want their employees to feel like they belong. They want their employees to be happy, get together, and they want their employees to feel valued and like they're part of something bigger. And so if companies can spend that much energy creating and shaping corporate culture, then we should do that for our families too, which families are much more important. And so they have company mottos, they have mission statements, and we can also make those for our family. And including your children in making your motto or mission statement is awesome, and it can change over time. I struggled, our family and I and my husband struggled for a while coming up with one, and we were talking about it, praying about it, and finally, just a couple weeks ago, when our children were just being so competitive and so unkind to each other about who was first and who gets this and the middle place or the best piece, and when they were, one of my children would accomplish something, the older children would be like, well, I can do that, and they wouldn't celebrate. And so we came up with the motto, we're a team. And we talked about when they're in a soccer team, because they all play soccer, when they're in soccer and a teammate does a bad job, are you mad at that teammate? No, you encourage them and you're still kind to them, because when you're working together as a team, everything's better. And our family is a team, and we need to treat each other at least as well as you treat your soccer teammates, if not better. Anyway, so come up with a motto, mission statement. Another thing is use your last name with pride. Use it to label yourselves. Like, when our children are using words like stupid or dumb, we say, Barneses don't say that. We use much better words than that. And we're kind in what we say and what we say to people especially. And as your children get older in terms of, going to this activity, that party, I can say, Barneses don't do that. We stand in holy places. And Barneses, we don't say that. We're kind to people. And Barneses, we really emphasize education. And so I know you don't want to do your homework, but Barneses, that's what we do. And so using your last name with pride as a label for your family is a great thing that you can start doing with your children. Also, what do you have on your walls? Think about what you have on the walls of your house. Does that help embellish your family culture? You can see that right behind me now this is my dining room at my dining table right now. These are all photographs of ancestors. This is our family tree right here with our kids. And so we have pictures of our ancestors. We have other ancestor themed things around our house. We have lots of religious paintings and pictures around our house because church is a huge thing for our family. We have pictures of our missions. We have uplifting things around our house. We have a whole wall of musical instruments because music is important to us. We were very conscientious about what we put on our walls because we wanted our walls to speak to our family and to everyone who visits about who our family is. So take some time to evaluate what's on your walls and what you want on your walls. That helps your family culture. Also, having dinner time is a priority, dinner time together. Studies have shown that when families eat dinner together, everything's better. And it's such a special time. We had family dinner together all the time when I was growing up, but we always had the TV on. That doesn't count. So talking during dinner, and you can only talk about how was your day for so long, and with little kids, they're not interested in grown-up chit chat. So there are so many fun dinner time games that you can find online and play. I'm thinking of games when our boys are little. I'm thinking of a truck that picks up garbage from the street, garbage truck. And I'm thinking of games, we do a lot of rhyming games now, things that help enrich your dinner time. And of course we tell family stories at dinner. And children who know their family stories are more resilient and more confident and more successful. And it doesn't just have to be stories from great-great-great-grandparents. It could be stories from your own childhood that you're telling your kids, or from their own childhood that they don't even remember. When children understand that they're part of something bigger, they have this greater sense of belonging that's so important. So storytelling is a great thing to do to the dinner table. I'm usually the last one finished with dinner because I'm telling stories or trying to lead conversations, so I'm not usually the one doing the most eating the first part of dinner. Anyway, family home evening is another great thing you can do to help enrich your family culture and strengthen your family. We have a time set apart each week, Monday evenings, that we have family home evening. And that is a little program we do with our whole family. Everyone is involved. This is our little wheel of responsibility. And I tell you, without this wheel, we would never do family home evening. This helps us remember to do it, and it helps us be orderly, and helps the children be responsible and involved. So we have a song, a prayer. Here we go. We begin with a song. Someone chooses and conducts the song, have an opening prayer. Someone gives a little spiritual lesson, and then someone chooses and leads an activity, and then a closing prayer, and then someone helps make a treat during that day and then serves the treat that night. And the kids always look forward to this. Even if I forget, they remember, and they turn the wheel, and they talk about it, and they plan it. Especially, they're always excited to be in charge of activity or be in charge of treat. And I love this because, so there's 8 people in my family, and we are often in the same house at the same time, but we're in different rooms, we're doing different things, and that's not really together time. But when we have this time set apart on Monday nights to really have a structured and great and uplifting time together, that's when our real family bonding happens. And it's so great to see the kids rise to the occasion to fulfill their role, and then to do these activities that, plan activities that every child can be involved with. Not too difficult of a card game, because then the young kids can't do it, but something that everyone can do. And so I highly recommend family home evenings. Also, you can share family stories. I keep talking about family stories. Sorry about that. Sharing family stories is something that's so unique to your child. There's no one except their siblings who shares that exact same heritage. And so when you can share their family stories, not only do they get that sense of belonging, but a sense of uniqueness that so many people desire. And you don't want them to seek for a sense of uniqueness in undesirable gangs, cliques, groups, whatever. You want them to find that sense of uniqueness in their own heritage, hopefully, that's unique to just them and their siblings. And so you can tell your family stories in so many fun ways and meaningful. If your ancestors knew or loved or wrote poems, you can teach them those poems. Songs, you can learn those songs together. Do your ancestors have any mottos? You can learn those mottos. My Jonah's great aunt was born with several incorrect skull bones and has had a very difficult life, but her motto is, happiness is a choice. And she is the happiest person you'll ever meet. She has chosen to be happy in spite of her physical obstacles that she's had in her life. So, what cultures does your family come from? Can you eat their food and celebrate their holidays? Do you have an ancestor whose birthday you can celebrate? My father passed away before my children knew him, and so we celebrate his birthday every year. Learn your ancestor stories and engage your children in fun ways with those stories. Another fun thing you can do to increase your family identity and culture is to bring back or keep doing or try new family traditions. The goofier, the better, right? Okay, so I grew up never liking Thanksgiving. All day I had to watch adults cook, and then all afternoon and evening I had to just watch them eat. And it was really boring, and I never liked Thanksgiving. So when I had my own family, I was determined to make Thanksgiving better, and not just better, but awesome. And so we have come up with a bunch of things that make it great. So my kids can look forward to Thanksgiving, and our favorite is Thanksgiving morning, we have a turkey hat, and we take turns putting it on and pretending to be the turkey, and everyone else in the family has our Nerf weapons, guns and bows and arrows and things, and we go out to a field, and the family member who has the turkey hat on runs around like a turkey. We all try and kill the turkey, and then with our fake Nerf weapons, right? And then they fall over and pretend to be dead, and then someone runs up and puts on the turkey hat next, and they run around, and we chase them, and we just laugh and laugh and laugh, and that's just a fun thing to do on Thanksgiving. So what traditions maybe did you do growing up, or did your parents do that you'd like to bring back? And what are some other traditions that you can just invent and start doing with your family? And that'll just strengthen your family. So make your kids proud to be part of your family. Make them love being insert your last name there. Make being a last name a great thing. I saw a wonderful demonstration of this just yesterday. My oldest son, Samuel, was supposed to record on this new iPad app on Flipgrid a recording of him for a minute and a half, just of his face. And he watched all his classmates' videos, and they were just staying there saying, okay, I'm staying sane, this is what I'm doing, and maybe just goofing around the screen. And so when Samuel's turn to record, I said, Samuel, do you want to go in a room so you're away from all your siblings, so it's nice and quiet, and you can just do recording? And he said, no, I want all my siblings in the video. And he gathered them all around, and in just his minute and a half that he had to record, he introduced all his siblings, and it was just so sweet to see how proud he was of his siblings and how much his family means to him and how much he wanted to share it with his friends. This time that we are in life is so precious and is so short. You heard this, the days are long, but the years are short. I love going to the grocery store with my kids, and I'm going down the aisle with just kids everywhere on the cart, in the cart, on the cart, under the cart, and some old person passes me with their little cart, and they just smile and they say, oh, cherish those days, they go so fast. And you can just tell that they miss having such young kids. They miss the craziness, they miss the messes. Okay, maybe they don't miss the messes, but there's a lot of things that they do miss about having these little kids, and they do grow up, and it's so easy to just wish away the messes, the tantrums, the goldfish, the accidents, all these things. But people are envious of us, and we need to cherish this time with our little ones, and make the most of it. Build our family culture, build our family identity, make it awesome to be part of your family. And I know that God will help you with this. He will help you as you decide what you're going to do with your family. He will help you as you put these things in place. Why? Because the children that you have are His children, and He loves them and wants them to be part of a great family. And I know that as you seek to make a wonderful and strong family culture, that you will have a great family. You'll be so pleased, and not every day will be great, but it will be awesome in all and in the end. And I just love you all and wish you all the best as you move forward with your family culture and as you get through this virus time. Bye-bye.